Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Talking Ball podcast. I'm your host, Chase, and this is episode number 29. So this week was pretty much all NBA. It's going to be all NBA for this podcast. We're just going to dive into the games this week, talk a little bit about standings, award races, stuff like that. Obviously, no football. Super Bowl ended a couple weeks ago, and football won't be back on for a while. There's a little bit of NFL news at the end, a few things that I will talk about a little bit, but it's going to be mostly basketball for this one, and for a while. For a while, it's going to be mostly basketball because that's all that's on right now. And any other news I will still report on, but right now it's going to be basketball. I'm going to be talking about basketball and focusing on that for now. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting on last Tuesday, last podcast day, the 9th, the Pistons took down the Nets by 11 off of 32 from Jeremy Grant. Sorry, one second. All right. Yeah, 32 from Jeremy Grant. Pretty good game there. Jeremy Grant, definitely one of those guys who needed his own team. You could tell that he was a force in the paint offensively, and he's super athletic, so that just complements his defense just because he's, super athletic, jump high, run fast. It's usually pretty good things to have to be a good defender. So Jeremy Grant, definitely, young guy, young player. Let me see. He's like, 26? Relatively young. He was born in Portland. Whoa! I didn't know that. Did he go to high school in Portland? DeMatha. Where's DeMatha? Oh, it's in Maryland. Okay, so no, he did not go to high school in Oregon, but he was born in Oregon. That's cool. I didn't know that, and which I'm assuming his brothers were all born in Oregon too. Jerry and Jeri Grant. Jerry and obviously the only one in the NBA, along with Jeremy. Anyways, that's kind of cool. Jeremy Grant showing out there. The Heat beat the Knicks by 2 off of 26 points and 10 assists from Jimmy Butler. The Warriors beat the Spurs off of 32 points from Steph Curry. The Jazz beat the Celtics, and our player of the day, Donovan Mitchell, scored 36 points as the Jazz continue to win and win and win. Jaylen Brown had 33 for the Celtics in the loss. The Blazers beat the Magic by 9 off of 36 from Damian Lillard. And then the 76ers beat the Kings by 8. Joel Embiid had 25 points, and De'Aaron Fox had 34 points and 10 assists in the loss. So pretty good games there on Tuesday. For Wednesday, the 10th, the Raptors beat the Wizards by 22. Norman Powell had 28 points to lead all scorers for the Raptors. The Mavericks beat the Hawks by 1. Luka had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and John Collins had 33 points for the Hawks. The Nets beat the Pacers off Kyrie Irving's 35 points. The Grizzlies beat the Hornets. Kyle Anderson led the way for the Grizzlies with 27 points, and Terry Rozier had 34 for the Hornets in the loss. The Clippers and the Timberwolves. The Clippers beat the Timberwolves by 7. Kawhi Leonard had 36 points. The Bulls beat the Pelicans by 13. Zach LaVine had 46, and he hit 9 threes to earn the player of the day for Wednesday the 10th. The Nuggets beat the Cavs. They scored 133 points, and their leading scorer was Paul Millsap with 22. So I thought that was an interesting stat. The Suns beat the Bucks by 1. Devin Booker had 30 points. Excuse me. Wow. Devin Booker had 30 points, and Giannis had 47 points and 11 rebounds in the loss. And the final game of the day, the Lakers beat the Thunder in overtime by 1 off of LeBron James' 25 points. James also hit a game-tying buzzer beater, I think, or like a game-tying clutch shot. So good win there for them. On Thursday, we had 5 games. Not much, but the Heat beat the Rockets. Jimmy Butler had a triple-double, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. The Celtics beat the Raptors by 14, with Semi Ojeleye leading the way for the Celtics with 24 points. The Pacers beat the Pistons off Domantas Sabonis' 26. The Warriors beat the Magic by 6 off of Steph Curry's 40 points and 10 made threes, earning him the player of the day for Thursday. Crazy game for him. It was against the Magic, but 40 points and 10 threes? Don't get much better than that. And to wrap it up, the Blazers beat the 76ers by 4. Damian Lillard had 30 points, and Joel Embiid had 35. Dang. Friday was a tough one. I just glanced over and we had 2 40-point players. I can shout out Sadiq Bey with a 30-point double-double. It's going to be a tough one to pick this week for Player of the Week. The Hornets, we're going to start it off, though, with the Hornets and the Timberwolves. One of the 40 pieces was Terry Rozier. He had 41, and Malik Beasley had 31 in the losing effort. The Knicks beat the Wizards. Julius Randle had 24 points and 18 rebounds. The Spurs beat the Hawks off of 23 from DeMar DeRozan. Very high-scoring game here. This was in regulation as well. The Mavericks beat the Pelicans 143 to 130 in regulation. Luka had 46 points and 12 assists. Porzingis had 36 points. Zion had 36 points. And Brandon Ingram had 30 points. So just 30 pieces for everybody right there. I guess I'd probably give it to Luka, actually. I missed his 46 and 12, so we had 3 40 pieces on Friday, which that's crazy. The Clippers beat the Bulls. Kawhi Leonard had 33 points in that one. The Pistons beat the Celtics, as I mentioned. Sadiq Bey had 30 points and 12 rebounds, so good for him. I think he's gonna be a really good player. He averaged like 18 this month, I think, and he got like Rookie of the Month or Player of the Month or something like that. Jason Tatum had 33 points and 11 rebounds in the loss. The Nuggets beat the Thunder by 2. Jokic had 22 points and 13 rebounds. The Jazz beat the Bucks as Joe Ingles and Gobert both scored 27 points. Ingles hit 7 threes, and Gobert also grabbed 12 rebounds to go with his 27. The Lakers beat the Grizzlies by 10. Anthony Davis had 35. The Blazers destroyed the Cavs by 19. Gary Trent Jr. had 26 to lead the way. And the Magic beat the Kings off of 42 points from Nikola Vucevic. I'm telling you guys, that dude's the real deal. Nikola Vucevic is the real deal. How old is Vuce? Let's see. How old's Big Vuce? He's going to be like, what, 30? Oof. I mean, that's not bad. You know, we got players playing until they're 35, 36. But I think Vucevic definitely needs a change of scenery. You know, the Magic aren't terrible. You know, they're always a constant 7-8 seed, but they usually lose in the first round. You know, they got somewhat of a future with Cole Anthony. Markelle Fultz getting hurt this season sucks, but he's also part of their future. You know, Vucevic is a free agent this year. After the season, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent this year. And I've been hearing a lot of talks of the Celtics being very interested, which, as a Celtics fan, I'll tell you, I am very interested in Vucevic. I think he'd give the Celtics what they need, defensively in the post, because he's not a terrible defender by any means. He's a decent defender. He's 7 foot, 7'1", 7'2", however tall he is. And he's a decent defender. He can stretch the floor. He can space it out. He hits threes very well. He can hit mid-range. His post play is very good. And no, he is not a free agent. He still has 2 more years left on his deal. So yeah, he still has till 2022-23, and then in 2023 he will be a unrestricted free agent. So we'll have to see where he goes in next few years. He'll be 32, 33 at that point. I don't know when it said his birthday was, but he'll be getting up there. If the Celtics can pull off a trade for him, that wouldn't be terrible. And would I be crazy to say, like, swap? I think the Celtics would be a better team if they swapped him for Kemba Walker. Imagine this. Imagine that. This lineup. You can run, even if you had Peyton Pritchard starting. Peyton Pritchard's not bad. You don't need Peyton Pritchard to score 20 points as the starting point guard. You don't need him to do that. You have Jason Tatum. You'll have Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. I'd put Semi Ojeleye at the small forward, Jason Tatum, and then Nikola Vucevic. I think that team is better than the team they got right now. Let me see. Who is their actual starting lineup at the moment? Because I know... So right now it's Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Ojeleye, Tice. Which isn't bad. And I don't know why it says Robert Williams is our third option. I think Robert Williams is our best center. Either way. So yeah, if you just take... You can take... So swap Kemba Walker and Vucevic. Just say straight up, I don't know, throw picks in there, some bottom of the barrel guys, Grant Williams, and I don't know, someone on their team. You would have Peyton Pritchard and coming off the bench, Jeff Teague, Tremont Waters. Well, Jeff Teague, Carson Edwards, Tremont Waters. Shooting guard, you'd have Jaylen Brown. I guess to back up Jaylen Brown, you'd have Javonte Green or Aaron Nesmith. Just fine. Jaylen Brown can play 35, 40 minutes. Just give the other few minutes to the other guys. Jason Tatum, same thing. You'd have Jason Tatum. To back up Tatum, also Javonte Green and Aaron Nesmith. So, but those two guys don't need to come off the court much. I'd rather have them on the court 35, 40 minutes. I'd personally put Tatum at the power forward and Semi at the small forward. I think Semi's more of a stand in the corner, shoot threes, and play great defense kind of guy. So I'm flipping those two. I'm putting Semi at small forward. Javonte Green can come off the bench for him. And then I'm putting Jason Tatum at power forward. And I'm putting Daniel Tice and or Robert Williams at backup power forward because they're smaller centers. I'm putting Vucevic at center, Tristan Thompson to come off the bench, Taco Fall as the third if we need it. I think that team would be better than this team with Kemba Walker on it. Like, if we just take a look at the numbers and I get Vucevic is the number 1 option on his team and Kemba Walker is the number 3 option on his team. So the numbers are going to be, skewed a bit. But right now this season, Vucevic is averaging 24, 11, 3 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 43% from 3, 82% from the free throw line. He is, he's averaging a steal and half a block, about a turnover and a half, not bad. Not even 2 fouls a game. He's making about 3 threes a game. And then we go look at Kemba, who, yes, is the third option. He's averaging 16, 4, and 4, shooting 36% from field and 36% from 3. Vucevic is shooting better from 3 than Kemba. And Vucevic is averaging 7 threes a game, shooting 7 threes a game, and making 3. Kemba is about the same. He's shooting a little bit more. Vucevic averaged 6.7 threes a game. Kemba's averaging 7.3. Vucevic makes 2.7. Kemba makes 2.6. So, all in all, they make the same amount of threes, but Vucevic is more efficient from the three-point line, which he's a center. He's gonna shoot less threes than Kemba will as a point guard, of course. But I'm doing that trade. Yeah, I mean, if they can pull a deal like that, then by all means, I'm totally down for it. Let me see Kemba's contract situation here. Excuse me. Do they not have? I don't care anymore. I'm moving on. But yeah, if we pull something off like that, be crazy. I would love to see it. But only time will tell. So moving on. To Saturday. Our game of the day was the first one of the day, the Suns and Sixers. The Suns beat the Sixers by 9, 120 to 111. Off of 36 points from Devin Booker. And Joel Embiid had 35 as well for the 76ers. The Pacers beat the Hawks by 12. Doug McDermott had 26 to lead scorers for the Pacers. The Knicks beat the Rockets by 22. Off of 22 points from Julius Randle. The Nets beat the Warriors. Kyrie Irving had 23 points. And the Jazz continue to win and beat the Heat off of 26 from Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, nothing there. Let's see. Yeah, I'll talk about the Jazz. Excuse me. On Monday's games. Second to last day, Sunday. Let's see. Not a lot of craziness happening. I'll probably give it to this first game here, Bradley Beal. It was a big game. The Wizards beating the Celtics. They beat them by freaking 13. So, pretty big game there. And Bradley Beal scored 35. I believe Jason Tatum scored 6 points and shot like 1 for 14. So, rough game for him. But all in all, Bradley Beal's just a different beast, man. You're never gonna be able to stop this guy. I don't think you can only hope to slow him down, and even then, it's most of the time not even gonna work. He averages 35 a game, and most of the time they lose just because he can't do it all. But this time he got it done, and he is Player of the Week. The Timberwolves beat the Raptors by 4. Cat's return. He had 20 points and 11 rebounds. The Spurs beat the Hornets off of 26 points and 12 rebounds from DeJounte Murray. Terry Rozier, who's been balling it up, had 33 in this one. He had 33 in that one. And then in their last game before that they won, he had 41. And in their last game before that, I'm pretty sure he had 34. Yeah, so Terry Rozier, trying to make a statement. Going back to the Scary Terry Boston days when they were in the playoffs. All right. Where am I at? There we go. Pistons, Pelicans. The Pistons beat the Pelicans off of 21 points from Josh Jackson. The Blazers beat the Mavericks by 3. Damian Lillard had 34 points and 11 assists. Luka had 44 in the losing effort. Missed a wide-open game-tying 3. Happens to the best of them. The Thunder beat the Bucks off of 22 points from Justin Jackson. The Suns beat the Magic as Devin Booker had 27. I'm sorry that made that noise. The Nuggets beat the Lakers off of Jokic's pretty impressive triple-double, 23 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists. The Grizzlies beat the Kings as Jonas Valanciunas had 25 points and 13 rebounds. And the Clippers beat the Cavs as Lou Will had 30 points and 10 assists. Good games there. And going into the last day of games on Monday, lots of guys scoring a lot. Jeez. We had another 3 40 pieces. And there was only 7 games. We'll just go through it here. The Bulls beat the Pacers by 8. Zach LaVine had 30. The Wizards beat the Rockets with 37 from Beal. The Knicks beat the Hawks, and Julius Randle had his career high, 44. And then the Jazz beat the Sixers. That is the Jazz's 19th win out of their last 20 games. And another 8-win streak for them going right now. And Jordan Clarkson came off the bench, torching. Had 40 points, 8 3-pointers. Ben Simmons had a career high in this one, scoring 42 points and had 12 assists. And Tobias Harris had 36 points and 10 rebounds. Man, I want to give it to Julius Randle, but I also want to give it to Jordan Clarkson. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it to both. Because they both deserve it. They both got out of L.A. And they're both balling it up. It's probably going to be a picture of them in L.A. together. Because I'd rather have that. But yeah, Jordan Clarkson averaging like 18 and a half off the bench. Playing extremely well for the Jazz. The Jazz are playing extremely well themselves as they win their 8th in a row. They're 19th out of their last 20. And yeah, they're just playing on another level right now. And I cannot find a good picture of them. I'll figure that one out later, how I'm going to do it. But we're going to move on. Warriors beat the Cavs Steph Curry had 36 points. The Clippers beat the Heat as Marcus Morris led the way for the Clippers. He had 32 points. And Jimmy Butler had 30 points. And then the Nets beat the Kings. Kyrie Irving had 40. And James Harden had a light triple-double. 29 points, 13 rebounds, 14 assists. Nothing crazy. And that's going to do it for basketball. I think I'm going to do... I think I'm going to do news now. And then I think I'm going to... I'm going to do something else. A little bit, I don't know. I think I'm just going to talk about sports for the last, 20, 25 minutes we got after this. But yeah, let's get into news. Got a few things for the NFL. 4 of them, actually. One little piece of NBA, and then 2 things for the other section. Washington football team re-signed Taylor Heineke for 2 years, $8.75 million. Taylor Heineke, quarterback, had to come in for Washington for Alex Smith in the playoffs. Played the Bucks in the first round, and he played super well. Let's see. So he went to college at Old Dominion. He wasn't drafted? Yeah, I guess he wasn't drafted. Yeah, he wasn't undrafted. Undrafted quarterback. He played 2 games this year. He played 2 games for Washington. He didn't start the first one, but he did start the one in the playoffs. And in that playoff game, he threw 26 for 44, 306 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He also had 46 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. He gave the Bucs defense more trouble than Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Patrick Mahomes all did. So it might be a new era in Washington. Is that going to be their guy? I hear a lot of... obviously, if you have a chance to get Deshaun Watson, you get Deshaun Watson. It's a small contract, so they could definitely be in the market for a starting quarterback. They might just have re-signed him to just, maybe be that backup. But we'll have to see what they do in the future. But at least they lock somebody in. They know this guy can play. I'm surprised he took that little money. He showed that what he could do. But yeah, Taylor Heineke. Former, anything's possible, man. Former XFL quarterback. He didn't get drafted, so he went to play in the XFL, and then, Washington's quarterback situation with, Alex Smith, having one leg, basically. Dwayne Haskins going to the strip club every day and being a locker room cancer. Who else did they even have on their roster? Because how many quarterbacks played is what I want to know. Here we go. Wow. Well, these are passing numbers, but 4 quarterbacks played this year for them. Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, and Taylor Heineke. I guess technically Logan Thomas is a quarterback, and he threw a pass. I like Logan Thomas, too. I think Logan Thomas is... This Washington team's not bad. They're super young. I know Logan Thomas isn't that young. He's almost 30. A former quarterback turned tight end, which is cool. Taylor Heineke is 28. But you got guys like Antonio Gibson and Peyton Barber, Terry McLaurin. Then guys on the defensive end: Cameron Curl, Cole Holcomb, Jonathan Allen, Ronald Darby, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Kendall Fuller. All these guys. Landon Collins. I know obviously some of those guys I just named aren't the youngest, but Ryan Kerrigan still. So they're not a bad team. They're not a bad team at all, by any means. I mean, they made the playoffs and they gave the Super Bowl champs a little run for their money. I expect the Washington to try to repeat and go back to the playoffs. Ooh. The Pouncey Twins. Excuse me. Both retire. They're both first rounders and multi-time Pro Bowlers, with Marquise, Pittsburgh center, going to the Pro Bowl 10 out of his 11 seasons, I believe, or somewhere along those lines. And then his brother Mike, who played for the Chargers and the Dolphins, made the Pro Bowl 3 times. So yeah, both first-round picks in 2010 and 2011. Really solid centers, solid pieces in the NFL. And now they're retiring. So good careers for them. I believe Marquise. I don't think he ever won a Super Bowl. I think it's the same thing, because my best friend is a Steelers fan, and we were talking about Antonio Brown, and the Steelers won the Super Bowl twice, and my buddy was asked me if Antonio Brown won a Super Bowl, and if that was his second, and he didn't, because the Steelers won the Super Bowl, and then they drafted Antonio Brown, and then they lost in the Super Bowl to the Packers. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was an interesting little thing there. So I don't think Marquise Pouncey ever got a Super Bowl, because he was in 2010. So yeah, a 9-time Pro Bowl for Marquise, and he was a Hall of Fame All 2010s team, 2-time All-Pro. So yeah, he did not win the Super Bowl, and Antonio Brown also didn't win a Super Bowl until now, obviously. The Texans released J.J. Watt, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, well, I mean, what can I say about him? 5-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, Hall of Fame All 2010, 2012, 2014, 2015 Defensive Player of the Year. Burt Bell Award? What is that? Player of the Year. That's just the overall Player of the Year award. One of 3 to win 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, along with Lawrence Taylor and most recently Aaron Donald, who just won his 3rd. Great career. 20 and a half sacks in 2012 and 2014. 101 sacks on his career. Spent the last couple seasons with injuries. 2016, 2017, really injured. 2019. He came back in 2018. Re-aggravated an injury. In 2019, played 8 games. Played all 16 in 2020. Kind of had a step back year. But as we can tell with all the turmoil going on in Houston, it probably was not the best situation for JJ. All the whole front office carousel, the whole Deshaun Watson situation, going 4-12 with a very good defense and a very stacked offense before, a bunch of suspensions and releases and trades happened. So any team is going to be super, super lucky to pick up J.J. Watt off these waivers. They're probably going to wait for him to clear waivers so they can sign him to a different contract. Noting that he is almost 32 years old and coming off of these injuries 2-3 years ago. Keeping all that in mind. But I do expect him, obviously, to get a contract. He's still, one of the most violent and fierce defensive ends in the league. You don't want to go up against this guy. 6'5", 290, fast as hell. One of the best defensive players of all time. One of the best defensive linemen of all time. And our last piece of NFL news, super tragic. But former Bucks and Chargers Former Bucks and Chargers Pro Bowl wide receiver Vincent Jackson was found dead in a hotel a couple days ago. His family filed a missing persons complaint and then police found him, talked to him, and they said he was fine. They said he was doing fine. So they left him there, and 2 days later, a housekeeper or a room service, whatever they're called, maid, found him dead. They don't know how or why. My best assumption is probably suicide, which is very, very sad, insanely sad. Only other thing, he's a 38-year-old. He was 38, man. Rest in peace to him. Prayers up to his family for sure, man. I was just telling my best friend, he doesn't know everything about football. We play Madden though, and Vincent Jackson's a guy in the game, and I always like to quiz him on who guys are because they pop up on the screen. I'm like, who's that? I go, I don't know. But I was just talking about Vincent Jackson with him, how he's one of the most electric receivers. 6'5", 230, the original Mike Evans, if you would. Just a really fun receiver to watch. If you haven't seen Vincent Jackson, if you had never watched him play, go watch some highlights. He's a very fun guy to watch. One of the more underrated guys for sure. So rest in peace to him. Okay. One thing of basketball news is that the Nets signed Andre Roberson. Roberson has not played for a while. Had a very freak knee injury, kept him out for upwards of 2 seasons, and it just kind of kept him sidelined for a while. Now he will go join that big three in Brooklyn and hope to bring his clamps over there. Always one of the better defenders. Could never shoot the ball. Maybe he fixed that up, but he was definitely one of the better defenders in the league when he was playing. And then 2 things for the other section, which is, I guess, NCAA this week. One for football, one for basketball. UCF hired Gus Malzahn as their head coach. He was the head coach for Auburn the last few seasons. Not sure how long, but after a disappointing season this year, they fired him. He went 68-35 overall as Auburn's head coach, and he went to the national championship once. I believe that was the year with Cam Newton. Or maybe not, because they won. And then Auburn made it back, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I can't remember. But Gus Malzahn is head coaching for UCF now, who a couple years ago were the self-proclaimed national champion. So there's that. And for basketball, it's going to be 5-star freshman Jalen Johnson opted out of the rest of the season. Duke, even though they will get a chance to play in March Madness, they're 8-8. They have secured a 500 or below season the first time in Mike Krzyzewski's career. Jalen Johnson, one of the highest touted talents coming out of high school, went to Duke. He spent a lot of time coming off the bench. He averaged about 13, and he's been coming off the bench for the last few games and not getting much PT. So he's not happy about it. So he opts out of the rest of the season, and he's going to go prepare for the NBA draft, as he is projected like a top 10, top 5 pick. So, I mean, that's going to do it for news. I want to talk a little bit about the NBA. Let me just stretch in here. Sorry, sitting for 40 minutes. Okay. But yeah, we'll talk about the NBA right now. We got, I'm going to pull up the standings real quick, talk about those, as I usually do every week. So right now in the East, the Sixers are in control at 18-10. The Bucks are sitting right behind them at 16-11. The Nets are third, 17-12. The Celtics are fourth at 13-13, with the Pacers at fifth at 14-14. Then the Knicks at 14-15 are at 6. And then we have the Hornets at 13-15, sitting at number 7. And the Raptors have climbed their way back up to playoff contention at the 8th spot at 12-15. The rest of the teams, the Bulls, Heat, Hawks, Magic, Cavs, Wizards, Pistons, all round out the 15. Wizards, Pistons fighting for that last spot. Wizards are 8-17, and the Pistons are 8-19. The Heat, surprise is there, 11-16, on a 2-game losing streak. 2-game loss streak. They're struggling on the road. At home, they're 500. They're 7-7. They're 4-9 on the road. They're 5-5 in their last 10, and 7-11 within conference. So conference play has not been their strong suit this year. Having just the second most wins within conference play, or the second least wins within conference play. So the Heat, you know, we're what, 20, 30 games in, 28, 30 games in to the season. They can definitely pull it back. Was it this season? They're doing 72 games this season, right? Okay. Yeah, 72. So there are 72 games this season. So there are like 42 games left to pull it back. Right now they're going to be fighting. I mean, the Knicks and the Hornets, they're going to have to keep playing well. Julius Randle's going to have to keep carrying if the Knicks are going to want a chance. And now we go to the Western Conference. Not too many surprises, honestly. Maybe the order of things is a little surprising because the Jazz are destroying right now at 23-5. They're 13-2 at home. They're 9-1 in their last 10, and they're on an 8-game win streak. They're also 19 of 20 out of the last 20, or 19-1 in their last 20. The Lakers are close behind at 2 at 23-7. The Clippers are at 3, real close behind at 21-8. The Suns are 17-9, sitting at 4. The Blazers at 5 are 16-10. And the Spurs right behind them are 16-11. The Nuggets and the Warriors sit at 7-8. The Nuggets are 15-11, and the Warriors are 15-13. Then the Grizzlies, Mavericks, Kings, Pelicans, Thunder, Rockets, and Timberwolves all round out the 9 through 15 spots, and the Timberwolves are going to secure the worst team in the Western Conference and probably the worst team in the NBA. They are 7-20 at this point. They're 3-12 on the road. So that is horrible. But yeah, let's talk about the Jazz for a second. Jazz. With the Jazz, I can. Let me see. Utah Stars. That's cool. I want this season's Jazz. And can I have their stats? Here we go. Cool. All right. So, with the Jazz, there are 6 players averaging double figures. 6 players averaging double figures. For the Los Angeles Lakers, I guess there's 5 players averaging double figures. So, I guess not too much discrepancy there, but we can see Donovan Mitchell is averaging 24. And then Jordan Clarkson, who comes off the bench, averages 18. Mike Conley has 16.5. Bojan has 15.5. Rudy's averaging 14 and 13 with 3 blocks. And Joe Ingles is averaging 12 with about 2.5 threes a game. They're just playing insanely great team basketball. They're playing great team basketball. They have 9 players with 100+ points total, including Georges Niang, Derek Favors, Royce O'Neal, and then the other 6 that we talked about. Where is their games? I want to see their games. Their game log. Where's their game log? Oh, there it is. It was hidden. All right. Anyways. I mean, look at this. Okay, so this is the beginning of the season. Win, loss, win, loss. Win, win, loss, loss. So in their first 8 games, they were 4-4. They were 4-4 in their last 8 games. From their 9th game to their 28th game. 20 games. They've lost 1. 1 game. They went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11-game win streak, lost a game. And now they're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-game win streak. They lost this game to Denver. They shot decent. They just, let me see. Assists. I want to see the let me see. I want to see what team leads the league in assists. It's probably like the Nets, but they got to be close. The Jazz got to be close. Wow. What? The Jazz are 21st. How? They're 4th in blocks. They're 4th in 3-point percentage. They're 12th in field goal percentage. They're 4th in points. I don't know. I don't get it. Okay. They have the biggest point differential. They're plus 9.3. The second most is the Bucks at plus 8. They have the fifth best field goal percentage differential. And the fourth best 3-point percent differential. They attempt the most threes differential per game at plus 11 and make plus 5.5. That's how many more they shoot and make than the other team. So they shoot 11 more threes on average than the other team, and they make 5.5 on average more than the other team. They out rebound. They're number one in rebound differential at 7. And I'm sure they're third in block differential at 1.3. And they're first in turnover differential at plus 3. So they just play extremely good basketball. I don't know. They just play great team basketball. You know, you can see like they have different guys every time. This game, Jordan Clarkson, 40. Where's another Jazz? Donovan Mitchell, 26. Jazz, Joe Ingles, 27. Rudy Gobert, 27. I know there's another Donovan Mitchell up here somewhere. Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, 36. You know, they play great team basketball, and they got multiple guys who can score 25, 30 points a game. You know, last week we had Bojan Bogdanovic had like 33 in a game and carried the team in that one. So I really think it's important. Like, this team has man, is Donovan Mitchell a star? Is Donovan Mitchell a star? I think he's a star. I don't think he's a superstar. But I think he's a star. Let me check out what he's doing here. So for the season, he's averaging 24 and 5 assists, shooting 43%, 39% from 3. Player efficiency is at like 19. Win shares is 2.5. You know, he's definitely improved every year. I guess. I think I would say he's a star. I think there's stars, and then I think there's superstars, and then I think there's, I don't know. But I think Donovan Mitchell's a star, and then they have, you know, a defensive player of the year candidate every year in Rudy Gobert, who's just, you know, he doesn't score much, right? He's like probably the third, fourth leading scorer on this team. Let's see. He's the fifth leading scorer. He averages 14. You know, Donovan Mitchell, Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, Bojan all average more, but it doesn't matter. He averages 14 and 13, along with 3 blocks. So that, honestly, the Jazz have it. The Jazz have it down. They got Mike here. Where's their depth chart? Let me get their depth chart, because I'm pretty sure I can probably use that, but I want to know the exact depth chart. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. I'm gonna mix it up a bit because they got Royce O'Neal at the power forward. I think I'm gonna go Bojan at the power forward and Joe Ingles at the small forward, but just for now. Mike Conley, veteran point guard, playmaker, passes well, scores, can score. He's averaging 16.5 and 6 assists, 1.5 steals, playing really well on the defensive end, shooting well, 41% from 3, 45% from the field. So they got him, who, that's a great piece. They got Donovan Mitchell, their star. That's their star. 24 and a half, 25 points a game, shoots it well, can attack, super, small, 6'1", 6'2", but can still attack and drive, elevate on bigger defenders. Then I'll put Joe Ingles at the small forward, spot-up shooter. That's what you want at a small forward, usually, who's not a star. If your small forward is not your star, I want a spot-up shooter. I want a guy, and Joe Ingles not a bad defender. He might be slow, he might be unathletic, but he's not a terrible defender. He keeps his feet moving, he keeps in front of people. I've watched him play. And he's just a spot-up shooter. He sits on the corners, he sits on the elbow extended, and he shoots. He made 7 threes in that game, probably just spotting up, catch and shoot, easy release, quick. Then you put Bojan at the power forward. Bojan is a younger, more athletic Joe Ingles. Pretty much. A great spot-up shooter, but can also shoot off the dribble, can create off the dribble, can drive, can finish at the rim, gets contact a lot. He gets a lot of and one threes. Just a great player. For him, he's not a bad defender either. And then you got Rudy Gobert. Obviously, he's not going to give you, he'll drop 27, but he's not going to give you 25 a night, okay? He'll give you 15 boards, and he'll probably block your shit 2 or 3 times. And he'll probably score 13 or 14, but that's all they need him to do. They just need him to be, and that's what I like in my center. I know I've been talking up of Vucevic all the time, how I want him on my team, even though he's one of the better offensive centers instead of defensive centers. But defensive centers are a dime a dozen, and Rudy Gobert is a very, very valuable center. I don't care what Shaq says. I don't care what anybody says. Look at this team. They've lost 5 games, and Rudy Gobert's averaging less than somebody coming off the bench. Less than 34, 35-year-old Mike Conley. Less than... He's actually not averaging less than Joe Ingles. Almost. Less than Joe Ingles, who comes off the bench. So, all in all, this team's good. And other than Jordan Clarkson and Derek Favors, I think their bench needs some work. Because right now, if we ran this lineup, Royce O'Neal, who's not bad. I like Royce O'Neal. He's a good offensive player, and he plays good defense. He's a good basketball player. But then you got like George Niang coming off the bench, who's not terrible, right? He's not terrible. He's a good shooter. He's averaging like 5, and Royce has got like 8. George Niang's a good shooter, kind of a liability everywhere else. But other than that, and then, I'm kind of assuming that they kind of run Jordan Clarkson for Mike Conley, or maybe for Donovan Mitchell, probably both. But then Jordan Clarkson, obviously, the best player off the bench. Derek Favors does well off the bench, replacing Gobert. Let's see, what's Derek Favors getting? 6 and 6, about a block, so it's not bad. Backup center getting a block a game, that's not bad. But their third center is Udoka Azubuike. Their second power forward is Jawan Morgan. They got Maione getting PT. Shaq Harrison's in there. Rough bench. They're gonna have to work on that, filling that out before the playoffs. But this Jazz team is just good. This Jazz team is just good. They might not match up on paper. Like, you look at the Lakers and you're like, okay, Rondo and Conley, okay, 2 old veteran, point guards who know their way around the playoffs, know their way around the NBA. Donovan Mitchell and what, KCP? And KCP can't guard Donovan Mitchell, but KCP just sits and shoots, he doesn't need to do anything else. you put Bojan or Joe Ingles either way here. You're putting I'd put Bojan if I'm playing the Lakers because that's LeBron. Actually, hold on. Let me get the Lakers depth chart because I don't know what they're actually officially running with. Okay, so they are running Dennis Schroeder at the starting lineup. Okay, so Schroeder and Conley. I think Conley's a good defender. Schroeder, obviously one of the better scoring point guards. But that's a decent matchup. I give it to Schroeder. KCP, as I said, same thing. LeBron, whoever we're taking with LeBron, it's gonna be a matchup. It's gonna be a hard matchup. You're gonna have a tough time. It's LeBron freaking James. And then Anthony Davis against this team is tough. You probably switch it up. You probably switch it off and put Gobert on Anthony Davis and put your backup or your power forward on Marc Gasol, but even that's a mismatch. Royce O'Neal against Marc Gasol, Bojan Bogdanovic against Marc Gasol, Georges Niang against Marc Gasol. Any of those. Bad. And then the last thing I wanted to look at was actually if they played the Lakers yet this season. And how they did against them. They have not played the Lakers. Portland Clippers. Yeah, no, they haven't played the Lakers yet. They haven't played the Lakers just yet, but they will at some point. But yeah, this Jazz team is exciting. They're super good. I think they got a super good upside. And if these guys can perform, they did well last year. Donovan Mitchell, that Nuggets Jazz series, that was insane. And now I think Jordan Clarkson's taking a jump. I think Rudy Gobert's pissed at Shaq, so he's taking a jump. Bojan Bogdanovic is taking a jump. And I think Donovan Mitchell has too, and Mike Conley. All these dudes. I think all these dudes have gotten better from last year. And I mean, obviously, they're 25-5. They're doing crazy good. So obviously, they're performing well. But, like last year, I don't know. This team is my dark horse. And they're watch out for them. Watch out for them, Jazz. Watch out for the Jazz. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. We're about an hour and 3 minutes. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate it more than you guys know. It's crazy to do this thing that I love every day, and I might not get paid for it or anything, but it's just something I love to do. I just love talking about sports. Something I want to do the rest of my life. So I appreciate all the support, and just be sure to like, subscribe, download, 5 stars, whatever you got to do on whatever you're listening on. And I appreciate every single one of you that view and comment and listen every day and every week. So this has been podcast number 29 of the Talking About Podcast, and I'm out of here. Peace out.